Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to talk about 5 things toxic people don't want you to know, and I got my notes here with me. Then the first one is you can be independent. You can be independent, you can think for yourself. Sometimes toxic people want you to just depend on them for anything, for everything. They want you to second guess yourself. They want you to just not be sure of yourself. They want you to just be dependent on them. They want you to just you can't think for yourself. You're undecisive. You're just codependent. You can't think for yourself, and you just need to be validated by them. You need to be, complimented by them. Sometimes even toxic people love downplaying your achievements, because when you achieve something great and you're doing your thing and you're working on your purpose, they can sometimes just ignore you and ignore it, and you're second guessing yourself, you're unsure about yourself. That's what they love. That's what toxic people love. Toxic people love when you're just not sure about yourself, when you're just questioning everything, so they can control you and exploit you. So it's so important to be independent. Think for yourself. Be independent and rely on yourself. Rely on God. Put God first. Put God before them. Think for yourself, and know where you're going in life. Have a direction. You can't keep relying on people and just being unsure about yourself, and you're just everywhere, and you just need it. You need their approval. You need their stamp. You need their approval all the time, and they criticize you. They put you down, and you're just unsure about yourself, and you just rely on them. Every decision you make, you're going to them and you're asking them for advice. You need to think for yourself. You need to have boundaries. You need to just have healthy self-esteem, and put God first. And it's so important to put God first and know who you are in Christ. And it's okay to have doubts sometimes, and have wise counsel. Wise counsel is okay. It's good to get wise counsel. It's smart. But there's a point in life when you have to make a decision, and you need to be comfortable in making decisions, and you need to be depend on yourself, and see what God's saying to you. And the second one is, you can have self-esteem. It doesn't have to be arrogance. Sometimes when you're confident in who you are in Christ, and you're unique, and you're just embracing your calling, you're working on your assignment, and you're being about purpose and confidence. And sometimes they might see it as like, who does she think she is? Who does he think he is? And they might make you feel like you're being arrogant. So you might try to tone it down. You might try to show them your weaknesses and tell them your weaknesses, and it doesn't help anyone, because they can just play with your emotions. They can play with your weaknesses, and they're putting you down, and they're putting you down because you told them everything about yourself, and they're trying to humble you, and they're trying to push you back to place, and trying to put you back down, and try to humble you. And it's so important to know who you are in Christ. It's so important to don't rely on their approval, and trying to seek their approval, and trying to be like, oh, okay, whatever you say, and you can't think for yourself. So it's so important to know who you are in Christ. It's so important to be confident. Confidence is not arrogance. Confidence is not trying to compete with your manager or boss or pastor or your mentor or coach. You're not trying to be, sometimes when they see confidence, they might think it's arrogance and think you know all and stuff like that. But no, some people have the crabs in the barrel mentality. Once you find your confidence, you find your calling, they just have to turn you. They have to tear you down, and get you to be unsure about yourself. They love tearing people down. They have that crabs in the barrel mentality. They like tearing people down and making people feel like they're not good enough. They have to tear them back down and humble them. They think it's humbling somebody, but it's just they're toxic and they're insecure, and they have to tear you down with them. So it's really important to know who you are in Christ. It's so important to don't fall for the criticism. Nothing wrong being corrected. There's nothing wrong being corrected. There's nothing wrong with helpful criticism. But if it's destructive, if they're putting you down, you have to think about if they're being jealous, if they're being a hater, if they're being just insecure and they're jealous and they're envious. There's a difference. There's a difference. So make sure that you know who you are in Christ. And the third one is, they are manipulative. They don't want you to know that they're being actually manipulative, controlling, and desperate. You know, when someone's fearful and desperate, they try to control you, and you might think they're just being good, a good coach or a good mentor, or they're just giving you guidance, but they're just desperate. They want to control you. They want to get credit for your success. So they're trying to play all these mind games, this passive aggressive behavior. You know, they're being passive aggressive. They're being giving you silent treatment, and it just make you feel confused. They want you to feel confused. They want you to just think, okay, is this person giving me wise counsel, and am I being disobedient because I'm having boundaries? But no, you have to realize when they're being manipulative. They don't want you to know that they're playing these games because they want to control you. You know, they probably want credit. They're seeking power from you. They're seeking credit and power from you, and they need it. They need it now, and they're gonna be desperate. They're gonna be desperate for it. So they're gonna just use different type of things to do that. And it's so important to know who you are in Christ. It's so important to, you know, have discernment so you can pick up on it, so you could not tolerate it. You know, if you're confused, if they're making you feel confused, that's the time to go into prayer. That's the time to pray to God about it. That's the time for you to just think, okay, let me pray about this. If they're rushing you and you have to make a decision straight away, and they're rushing, they're being passive aggressive, they're being angry, and they're being bitter and angry, and just rushing you, and they want a quick decision now, and they don't like how you saying no and having boundaries, that shows someone desperate. You know, they're desperate, and they wanna control you, and they're just so quick to hear a yes or no, and they don't want you to think first. You know, they're just rushing and saying just do it now. I'm this, I'm that, I'm a mentor, I'm a coach, I'm a pastor, I'm a manager, I know what I'm doing. And it's angry. They're just very angry and moody, and just look out for that. You know, when someone's being moody and angry, that's not good character. You know, that's someone that has low self-esteem. They have no control over themselves. You know, someone that has no control of themselves is dangerous. So you have to be very, very careful with people like that. The fourth one is, it's their fault they have self-control. I look at my notes. It's their fault they have no self-control. It's their fault. You know, they have to you know, have self-control and look after themselves. You know, you can't baby them, you can't mother them or father them. They have to have their own. They have to look out for themselves. You know, they have to sort their own mood out. You know, some people are in a bad mood, and they try to make it a responsibility to help them get out of a bad mood. But no, they're responsible for their life. You know, if they're in a bad mood and it's sad, and they try to guilt trip you, and they're trying to guilt trip you and make you feel bad. No, that's not of God. They need to learn how to pray to God and get deliverance or get therapy or counseling. You are not responsible. You know, you are not responsible for their bad mood, their bad attitude, their emotional witchcraft. It's nothing to do with you. They need the deliverance. They need the pastor. They need the manager to help them. You know, whatever situation it is, if they don't know their purpose or calling, they need a mentor or a coach. They need they need professional help. And for them to be angry, bitter, they're angry at life, they're bitter, and they're just irritated and moody, you're not responsible for that. They are responsible for their life, and you need to know who you are in Christ, and to have boundaries as well, and to pray a lot to God, because you can pray for them, you know, you can intercede for them and pray for them, but you're not responsible for their life. So it's so important to know that. And the fifth one is, you can have discernment and high intuition. You know, some people might try to be the God in your life. Oh, God told me this, God told me that. But you can have discernment. You can have that high intuition and think for yourself. It's kind of like the first one I said. You know, you can you know, talk to God about it. You don't have to just say yes to everything that people say. You don't have to take it as gospel what people say to you. You can go to God and pray to God about what they're saying. And it's so important to know who you are in Christ. It's so important to, you know, pray to God about issues that you're going through. You know, there's toxic people out there that will try to exploit you. They'll try to take advantage of you. But it's so important to know who you are in Christ. It's so important to not get misled. Don't get don't get taken advantage of. Make sure that you have a deep prayer life. You know, don't be codependent. Don't just be unsure about yourself. Don't have low self-esteem just to please people. You know, don't be a people pleaser. You know, make sure that you're around people that love you. You know, if they're in a bad mood and they're envious, they're copying you, and they're making you feel uncomfortable. They try to give you destructive criticism. They're always criticizing you, putting you down. They're never grateful for what you do. It's a spirit. It's a spirit of jealousy. They're just envious and they're jealous, and you can discern that. You don't have to try to be humble. You can't. It's humble. You know, you can be humble and address the jealousy. You don't have to say spirit of rejection all the time. You know who you are now. You know, spirit of rejection is like, you know what? There's a dark cloud. You don't feel good enough. You feel like you have to perform for love. You feel like you have to put on a character. You feel like you have to be this person you're not. You feel like you don't fit in, and you're trying to, but you can't. But when you're confident in Christ, you embrace your uniqueness. You're confident. So this time, when someone's putting you down and excluding you and not inviting you, it's because you now you're healed. Hopefully, you are healed. You realize that person's jealous. You know, the spirit of jealousy has a hold of them. You know, sometimes we get confused. Someone's leaving you out because of their jealousy, their insecurity, and you can be yourself. And sometimes spirit of rejection will be like, oh, you need to be more like this so you can get invited. You need to be more like that. You need to say yes more. You need to relax your boundaries just to fit in. But no, put God first in everything you do, and God will help you. You know, use your voice. You know, don't back down. Don't dim your light. I hope that helped. If you need any counselling or coaching or prayer requests or anything else, email me. Thank you for listening.